Internet, Chris Krug checking in here from the C100 CEO Summit. I'm with Harley Finkelstein of Shopify, and we're hanging out in the Silicon Valley. How's it going, brother?
Beautiful place, beautiful weather, great people.
Bunch of awesome Canadians
awesome. Really
hanging
cool.
out together,
Nothing's
being
better.
geeks. Yeah.
I love it.
So, a lot of people probably heard of Shopify. Not everybody's used it yet. Give me the kind of overview.
So Shopify allows anyone that has a product to sell that product anywhere, anyhow, and anytime. And we started as an e-commerce platform, and we sort of moved into becoming a commerce platform, whether it's online or offline. We power online stores and brick and mortar stores. And today we have more than 100,000 stores in more than 150 countries.
Wow.
And it's really exciting.
All right, let's keep this super family style. So my
Sure.
mom retired from being an educator for her whole
Cool.
life, and now she makes baby blankets.
Nice.
And she sells them on Etsy, and she's doing really, really well. So I'm starting to talk to her about the next steps, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe follow that trajectory for my
Totally.
mom and talked about how Shopify would fit in.
Yeah, so marketplaces like Etsy or eBay or even Amazon are really good places to potentially launch because they have an audience and they drive traffic to your store and to your products. But eventually, once people start getting some traction, they actually want to have their own store. They want to own the customer experience. They want to own the actual transaction, and they don't want someone else taking a piece of their margin, which is really important when you're starting a business. And so we see a lot of people that graduate off of Etsy onto Shopify, and it's a great path. And yeah.
And it's not just crafters or photographers or t-shirt makers. It's really anyone who's got a product.
That's right. And with the product, even we're seeing now services, companies that are entrepreneurs that are selling services, for example, like legal services or mechanics, for example, that are selling their services on Shopify as well. So if you have something to sell, you can use Shopify.
That's awesome. Okay, so what brings you down here to C100 CEO Summit? I mean, you guys are killing it. You're 500 employees now. You just recruited away our executive director, who's going to be the director of platform or something over there. What brings you down here?
So we're a Canadian-based company, but ultimately Shopify is a global brand. Again, we have merchants in more than 150 countries, and so the Silicon Valley and San Francisco is certainly the mecca of technology and technology startups. And so it's really important that we get out of our little bubble in Ottawa, Canada, and come down here and meet other great companies that are doing great stuff. And it also helps us to raise the level of ambition when we come down here.
Yeah.
We see guys here that are talking about taking over the moon and colonizing the moon.
Oh my gosh, I talked to that guy last night.
It's
He's going to mine the moon.
It's just amazing, right? And so getting a little bit of that big picture thinking and putting ourselves outside our comfort zone is really important. And the C100 really facilitates that really well with the CEO Summit.
Awesome. And you just mentioned the Ottawa bubble. I'd like to talk a little bit more about that. You guys have a great thing going on there.
Yeah.
A lot of people send you a lot of love for being kind of a hub in that scenario. So tell me a little bit about Ottawa and just the kind of Canadian tech scene generally.
I think that today technology companies are somewhat geographically agnostic. No one necessarily cares where Shopify is based. They care whether or not we have a great product.
Absolutely.
And whether or not we add a lot of value to their business. So I think actually building your company anywhere right now is really interesting, and it's fairly contemporary, because before you kind of had to be, if you were a car company, you had to be in Detroit.
Right.
If you were an oil and gas company, you had to be in Alberta.
A photographer, you got to be in New York.
Exactly, that's right.
Like
So today I think companies are geographically agnostic, and that's really helpful. And in Ottawa, we have a small community, but a very tight community. And rather than a lot of maybe some of the competitiveness you'd see in some larger American cities, there's a real sense of collaborativeness.
Absolutely.
So when we raised money, for example, a couple years ago, we made sure that our investors took a look at other Ottawa companies and other Canadian companies. And so again, we're a small group, but we're tight in Ottawa, and it's great.
Cool, man. I love your energy. I love your company. Thanks
man.
for hanging out
Thank
with
you
me.
for having me.
And let's head back in there
Appreciate it.
and hear the rest of the talks and,
Cool.
and then go have a beer or something.
You got it, man.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Harley Finkelstein, KK, signing out from C100 CEO Summit.